I started where most people stop, at a mirror I used to avoid. I saw a body that hurt to carry, a mind that made clever excuses, and a life that looked busy but wasn't going anywhere. I used to flinch from that glass because the truth stared back without mercy. One night, I got tired of my own performance. I wrote the facts on sticky notes and slapped them on that mirror. Lose the weight, study for real, tell the truth, show up early, finish what you start. No filters, no slogans, no applause. Just me, the reflection, and a decision. I would stop negotiating with my own limits. Pain was not new to me. I learned it early. I learned fear early. I learned that people can be cruel, that chaos can be normal, and that the world won't always be fair. But there's a difference between what happens to you and what you decide to do next. At some point, I realized I had become a volunteer in my own suffering. I carried stories that made quitting feel intelligent. I hid behind labels that sounded reasonable. I treated comfort like medicine and ambition like a disease. That night, the mirror became my contract. The signature was sweat. In the beginning, I didn't chase greatness. I chased honesty. I cleaned up my diet. I laced up my shoes when it was cold and still dark. My lungs burned. My legs felt like strangers. Every step invited me to stop. But there's a law in the human machine that I discovered the hard way. When your mind says you're done, you're usually around 40%. Your brain installs a governor to keep you safe, but that same governor keeps you small. I learned to move carefully beyond that line, never recklessly, always listening to my body, always respecting injury, but refusing to let the governor write the last sentence. I call it callousing the mind. Your hands harden when you pick up heavy things every day. Your mind hardens when you carry discomfort on purpose. I did it in the places no one could see. Before dawn, after failure, in boredom, in silence. I learned to do the work when I didn't feel like it. And soon my feelings lost their power to veto my future. Motivation vanished often. Discipline clocked in anyway. I wasn't aiming to feel unstoppable. I was learning to continue when the weaker part of me begged for permission to quit. The accountability mirror became my daily debrief. It never hated me. It never loved me. It simply reflected me. I wrote exactly what needed to change, and I set deadlines that hurt my comfort, but honored my potential. When I failed, I didn't rewind the old playlist of shame and excuses. I wrote a better plan. I adjusted. I returned. Success leaves evidence, and so does failure. I used both. When I set my sights on elite military training, the odds didn't flatter me. I was overweight, underprepared, and surrounded by people who meant well and told me to be realistic. Realistic is a great word for people who want to stay where they are. I chose another word. Responsible. Responsible for my next meal, my next mile, my next hour. Responsible for how I showed up when no one was watching. Responsible for the standards I adopted. I didn't wait to be ready. I built readiness out of small, relentless days. Training humbled me. The water was colder than I imagined. The days were longer than my pride, and the instructors were artists in engineering misery. Injuries showed up like unexpected bills. I had to recycle pain into patience and turn doubt into data. That's where I discovered the mindset I call taking souls. When the storm hits and everyone slows down, I shift gears and find another level. Not to humiliate anyone, but to send a message to my own doubt. I'm not leaving. When I smile under the weight, it's not a stunt. It's a choice. Pain, can be a language. My response can be a sentence it understands. Progress disappears if you forget who you've already become. So I built my cookie jar, a mental shelf of earned wins. Not fantasies. Receipts, moments I didn't quit, tests I passed, mornings I beat. When fatigue told me I was empty, I reached into that jar and grabbed proof. Proof beats pep talks. Evidence beats excuses. I felt the quick sugar of memory hit my bloodstream, and I took another step. One more minute, one more set, one more mile. Then I took another. Ultra endurance found me because I kept asking bigger questions. The longer the distance, the more honest the answer. In 100 miles, talent runs out and identity shows up. Around mile 80, you look in the mirror no one else can see. No decor, no audience, no story to protect your ego. That's where I met myself. Most people call that breaking. I call it finding. I learned that when you choose your suffering, you choose your growth. You don't have to run that far to understand it. You only have to walk through the door your mind is guarding. I am not special. I am relentless. I don't worship motivation. It's a guest that cancels often. I build schedules that shepherd me when my feelings want a day off. I wake when the alarm still feels like an insult. I put the hardest task first, the important task second, and the easy task wherever it fits. I don't track vibes. I track reps, miles, pages, and promises kept. Goals are loud, habits are loyal. Some days I failed. I got injured. I underperformed. I made mistakes that embarrassed me. Those days didn't destroy me because I refused to make them identities. A bad result is not a bad self. It's a report. I adjusted the plan. I called the doctor. I rehabbed with humility. I learned the difference between pain that builds and pain that breaks. Discipline without wisdom is punishment. Discipline with wisdom is progress. I never confuse the two. I learned to love quiet virtues. Punctuality, clean follow-through, saying less and doing more, showing up early and staying late, answering messages without being chased, documenting my process so others could climb faster. I learned that the strongest people I know aren't always the loudest. They are the most consistent. They keep small promises to themselves until the promises keep them. Across the years, I kept returning to the same question. What do I control right now? My attitude, my effort, my preparation, my response, not the weather, not the ranking, not the narrative strangers write about me. Control is not domination over the world, it's responsibility for your choices. When I stay there, I'm free, even in situations that don't feel free. Freedom isn't the absence of difficulty. Freedom is the presence of agency. People sometimes tell me this sounds like a cult of pain. It isn't. It's a practice of clarity. Pain is a signal. I listen to it. I don't worship it. I don't chase injury. I don't ignore doctors. I don't romanticize breaking myself. But I also don't let discomfort masquerade as danger. Most of what stops us is not injury. It's inconvenience dressed as wisdom. Callousing the mind means you can tolerate the resistance required to become the person you respect, without becoming reckless. On the worst days of training, I reached for 3 tools. The accountability mirror to face reality. The cookie jar to remember I've done hard things before. And the 40% rule to move beyond the governor that wants to keep me comfortable. Those tools are available to everyone. You don't need a uniform. You don't need permission. You need honesty, a plan, and a willingness to take the next honest step when the easy step looks prettier. I used to be ashamed of my past. Then I learned how to turn it into service. The point of being unbreakable is not to admire your reflection. It's to be useful. Someone is watching you, they don't even know your name. They will take a deeper breath because you didn't quit. They will lace their shoes because you laced yours. They will speak truth to themselves because you spoke truth to yourself. Strength is contagious when it is humble. I've seen medals and I've seen disappointments. I've seen days that felt like movies and days that felt like noise. The most powerful victories aren't on podiums. They're in private. They happen in kitchens at 5 a.m., in notebooks with check boxes, on sidewalks in winter, in silence when no one gives you a hashtag for your effort. That's where character grows. That's where freedom starts. I still use the mirror. I still write notes. I still meet the voice that wants me to procrastinate, and I still tell it, not today. I still manage fear by asking it for directions. What are you trying to protect? If it tells me I'm risking an injury or ignoring a red flag, I listen. If it tells me I'll look foolish, I smile and move. Fear is a counselor. It is not a king. I still build my days on systems, move my body, demand focus from my mind, do the real work before the busy work, block time for the people I love, and end the day with a short review. No drama, just the truth. If the day went poorly, I stamp it tuition and identify the lesson. If it went well, I add one line to the cookie jar and go to sleep hungry for tomorrow. I don't live in the past, but I don't forget it. The past is either a prison or a library. I use it to study, not to hide. When I run long, I don't look for transcendent moments. I look for honest minutes stacked together. One foot, then the other. One breath, then the next. I learned that the two most important minutes are the first two after you want to stop. That's where you teach your mind who's steering. That's where you become a little more dangerous to your excuses. That's where you earn your own respect. I choose not to be defined by my pain, but I refuse to erase it. Pain taught me capacity. Pain taught me compassion. Pain taught me to see other people, really see them, because no one escapes struggle. Everybody is carrying something. When you remember that, you become a better teammate, a better leader, a better friend. Stoic doesn't mean stone. Tough doesn't mean cold. Real strength has room for empathy. 1,000 small days built this life. Run when it's dark, stretch when you're sore, study when you're bored, practice when you've already won, apologize when you're wrong, and help when no one will know. These aren't heroic acts. They are human ones. You don't have to want to do them. You have to decide to do them. Desire is a luxury. Decision is a tool. I know what it's like to say, tomorrow. I know how convincing later can sound. Later is a liar. Later takes your best hours and trades them for a calendar that may never arrive. When the mirror asks me, when? I answer, now. Not with recklessness. With respect for time. With respect for the chance I've been given to wake up and put my hands on the wheel again. You may never run an ultra. You don't need to. Your ultra might be a business you want to build, a relationship you need to repair, a degree you want to finish, a habit you need to break, a body you want to reclaim, a truth you've been scared to say. The distance doesn't matter. What matters is the agreement you make with yourself at the start and the evidence you collect along the way. People sometimes ask me for shortcuts. Here is the only one I know. Tell yourself the truth faster. The longer you argue with reality, the more expensive it gets. Tell the truth in the mirror. Tell the truth in your schedule. Tell the truth in your metrics. Tell the truth when you fail. The truth doesn't humiliate you. It liberates you from a life of almosts. I am not done. I don't ever want to be done. That's not a sentence of suffering. It's a promise to evolve, to trade motivation for discipline, fear for focus, comfort for capacity, and ego for evidence. The best version of me isn't a destination. It's a direction. Every day, I take a step. So, here's my invitation. Stand in front of your mirror tonight and write one note. One sentence that tells the truth and sets a simple action. Put it where you have to see it in the morning. Then keep the promise. Do that for a week and tell me you're the same person. Do it for a month and watch your posture change. Do it for a year and meet the version of you that later was trying to keep from you. When someone says, "You can't," smile. You've heard that voice before, inside and out. You know what to do with it. Answer with action. When your mind begs for comfort at 40%, negotiate with your breath and push honestly to 41. Then rest with pride. When the day is chaotic, zoom back in on what you control. Your effort, your integrity, your response. If you fall, document the lesson. Reach into your cookie jar for proof you rise, and step forward again. That's how calluses form. That's how freedom grows. That's how you earn a life you respect. I don't need to feel unstoppable to be unbreakable. I need to keep my word when it's not convenient. I need to show up when my mood calls in sick. I need to build systems that carry me when inspiration forgets my address. And I need to remember always that the most important scoreboard is the one only I can see. The one that asks, "Did you keep your promises today?" If you take anything from my story, take this. "Can't hurt me" is not a boast. It is a boundary I set between my fate and my fear. Draw yours, then move, one honest minute at a time. If you want to keep growing and mastering yourself, follow the Clearance channel.